Hey, welcome back. So this video is going to focus on my first week here. There's been a lot going on. I definitely have a lot to share. So let's just get started. So orientation was definitely a really pivotal moment for me in my experience thus far because this is when it really hit me that this was happening. I think it was after I had moved out and saw everything in boxes and saw my small luggage and teeny carry-on that I realized, this was it. It was at that moment that I was on my flight from San Francisco to Washington, D.C., and I'm just really excited but also nervous for what lies ahead. But I was just really pleasantly surprised when I arrived on the Georgetown campus and was greeted super enthusiastically by the program staff. They immediately recognized us. We had sent them a ton of pictures, so it definitely made sense, but it was still like really, really nice and really refreshing. Um, and so I'm gonna just go through the highlights of orientation because if I talk about everything, this video is gonna be like an hour long. But I would say the highlights for me was getting to know or starting to get to know the other 74 participants in the program. I believe there are 38 states represented, so there's definitely a lot of regional diversity. And with that, obviously comes diversity of thought. So just really interesting to have discussions with them and learn a little bit more about their personal backgrounds and their upbringings, why they were doing the program, how much German they knew, what their professional fields were, what were they most anticipating about the year. Those type of hallway conversations I really treasured from orientation. Another thing that I really, really enjoyed were some of the lectures that we had. There was definitely a focus on culture shock and cross-cultural immersion and what that means and what we could expect to experience over the course of the year. We had a really great lecture by Professor Gary Weaver at American University, and I think the theme of his talk was very, very relevant for us. And basically, he was talking about how the experiences that most people have when they like truly live and immerse themselves in a new culture is very much up and down. Very few people experience a consistent, a consistent, a consistently high experience, I guess might be a way to say it. There are good times and there are bad times, and I think it was just a really good level set for us to just really reify the fact that this is not vacation, nor is it study abroad with your besties. It is living, truly living in another country, with a host family or with flatmates, going grocery shopping, doing things that everyday Germans do, interacting with other Germans. And so, just as there are ups and downs living in our own country, there are ups and downs living in another country. And that was really just a level set, a good level set. And really, another great highlight from orientation weekend was our visit to Capitol Hill. It was there that we got to meet with members of the U.S. State Department, members of Congress, as well as Peter Wittig, who is the German ambassador to the United States. And it was really just a day of reifying the role that these three important bodies play in the development and administering of this program successfully for 30 plus years. So it's just really a humbling experience to get insight into what goes on and how this happens and the importance of the experience that we were about to embark on. Another really cool aspect was the CBYX program staff had arranged for each of the participants to meet with their congressional representative to sort of personally express their thanks, as well as share with them, what they were excited about for the upcoming year. And my congressional representative is Nancy Pelosi, who represents the 12th District of San Francisco. Kind of a big deal, so it was hard to get time on her schedule, but fortunately I was able to meet with one of her staffers, Wendy Parker, who's her assistant to national security affairs. And I just thought it was the coolest thing ever to have this conversation with this woman and be able to share my gratitude and appreciation for the program and really learn about the role that I was imbuing going to Germany. Just the concept of really understanding what it means to be a citizen ambassador, and someone who is representing not only yourself, your family, your community, but also your country at large, and helping these two countries foster better relationships from the ground up. I just thought it was really, really powerful, and it was great to hear that responsibility and that role expressed directly from someone who works in Congress. All right, so enough about orientation. After all the Capitol Hill meetings, we were ready to head to Germany. And I think, again, it had hit me like I'm about to get on a flight and not touch American soil for a year. And so that's what we did. We boarded a Lufthansa flight. It was an evening flight. And so we arrived in Frankfurt, Germany around 8 in the morning, so exhausted. The jet lag was real. It was definitely real, but we were greeted by members of the GIZ, and they are the program administrators on the Germany side, and they kind of, greeted us, and we went on a bus, and our first destination upon landing in Germany was to a amazing castle palace in Budenheim, which is about maybe 35 minutes from Frankfurt, and it was the best thing ever to be there. Definitely an improvement from Georgetown undergraduate dorms. And it was just great to have a place to just lay down after such a long flight. Although they did keep us up, quite honestly, just so that we could get used to the German time zone. So the day was really, really light, just kind of activities, games and such to keep us awake and alert so that we can fall asleep later that night. So that was our first stop. Not too bad. So our time at Schloss Waldhausen, the amazing castle in Budenheim, was great. But after a few days, we were already en route to our respective language schools. And this is so where I'll pause to just share a little bit more about the language phase of the program that I mentioned in the first video. So learning German is a very huge element of this program. While German knowledge is not required to apply, there's definitely an expectation that all participants are motivated and enthusiastic to learn the language, as it'll definitely impact your success levels here. And so participants are divided into 3 groups and are placed in one of 3 cities, which will be their home for 2 months where they will go to language school. So the city options are Cologne, Radolfzell, and Saarbrücken. I was placed in Cologne and I couldn't be happier. I was really, really excited to go to a big city. Cologne is actually the 4th largest city in Germany. So I was definitely happy and comfortable with that type of environment. And off I went on this bus. So I definitely slept most of the bus ride to Cologne. But when I got there, I was super excited and alert, especially to meet my host family. So they are pretty much awesome. I have a really interesting situation where it's a host family, but it's also like a shared apartment as well. So in German, they call shared apartments WGs, which is WG, WG. So I have a host family, but I also have flatmates. And my flatmates are really interesting. They're other international students who are here learning German kind of just like I am. One is from Azerbaijan and one is from Egypt. They're all 20-something, so it's been great. My first night actually in Cologne, I went out with one of my flatmates. So that was great to just explore the Cologne nightlife right off the bat. So after getting situated, unpacking my things, stuff like that, I started to get into the swing of things and just really throw myself in there. So we arrived in Cologne, or Kuhn in German, on a Friday, I believe. So we had the whole weekend, and then we would start language school on a Monday. So the first thing to do was to definitely go grocery shopping, which is an adventure when you don't know German. It was a very humbling experience that made me appreciate my sense of sight, as well as just the universality of graphics and images. I was like guessing what kind of cheese things were. I was guessing like what kind of meat was pork versus beef. So it was just like really funny. But it's all part of the adventure. So that was cool. And there are definitely some things that I noticed, and I just wanted to share a couple of things that I noticed immediately off the bat over that first weekend in Cologne. That I thought were noteworthy. So I have a little list. I'm going to look and just make sure I don't forget anything. So one thing that I noticed is water is served sparkling by default. You have to specifically ask for still water, and tap water is just like not heard of. Neither is ice. So things are never served like ice cold, and like ice is just not a thing.
So that was kind of interesting to me. I also learned that summers here are pretty schizophrenic. It was really warm when we got here, but I think the next day it like stormed and it was lightning and thunder. So definitely key is to always have an umbrella with you. Um, what else did I notice? Oh, beer. Beer is cheaper than water here, which is, I think, hilarious. It's maybe like, I don't know, €1.50. And bottled water um, is probably close to like €3 maybe. So it's just really, really interesting, that culture. Um, Also, cool is Cologne has their own sort of famed beer. It's called Kolsch. So every time we go out, we gotta order Kolsch because we're in Cologne. Another thing that I noticed is everything is really, really small. Either that or everything in the US is really, really big. Probably the latter. But I would go to the cafe to get a coffee, and there's only one size. It's that big. So that's all you get. And I'm like, oh, you can't like get a large? Like, no. I went to DM, which is basically like the German equivalent of a CVS, to get nail polish remover. And it was like a bottle like yay big. And that really did surprise me because I'm used to it being probably about double that size. What else did I buy? From DM, I also got shower gel. Nivea is a German brand. I got Nivea. But the bottle was like, I don't know, it's maybe like that big, like 10 ounces, which is like nothing compared to the 24-ounce large bottle that I usually buy. So I think just that realization that things are small, sort of adjusting your expectations accordingly. Um, what else? Bread. Bread is everywhere. I don't really eat that much bread at home, so um, I was like, okay, like there are bakeries everywhere. People just eat bread for breakfast, bread for lunch, bread for snack. So that was just really interesting. Now, granted, the bread is good, but it's definitely just a lot. It's everywhere. Another cool thing that I thought was really funny was obviously we know, Daimler Mercedes is a German brand. Um, so yes, you do see a lot of Mercedes and BMWs and whatnot around, but something that I thought was hilarious was like all the taxi cabs, the FedEx vans, like just really random cars and trucks and stuff are Mercedes, which I think is just kind of flossy. So yeah, that was interesting. So just a few things that I've noticed over my first weekend in Germany. All right, so we talked about a lot of stuff, so I think I'm just going to try and wrap it up here. And to do that, I'm just going to come back sort of full circle and talk about school because I started classes on Monday. It has been really, really good. It is a lot of work, though. This is definitely no vacation. We have classes for 25 hours every week, so 5 hours every day. And you can imagine just like learning another language for 5 hours consecutively. It's pretty intense. But I'm in the A1 level, which is, beginning German. But we're learning a lot. I mean, I'm really impressed and surprised by how much we've already learned. I can definitely say some things. So I think actually I probably will share something with you just to sort of gauge my progress over time. I'll share maybe a couple of things here and there with every video. So here's just like a really short couple of sentences. All right, so hallo, ich heiße Jennifer und ich bin 24 Jahre alt. Ich komme aus den USA, aber lebe jetzt hier in Köln. Gestern ich habe Klasse besucht, aber am Samstag gehe ich nach den Niederlanden mit meinen neuen Freunden. So I tried my best. I said my name is Jennifer. I'm 24 years old. I'm from the USA. I said yesterday I had class, but this weekend I'm going to the Netherlands, and that is a true story, which is a perfect segue into topic for the next video. So next video is going to be focused on some of the sightseeing adventures that I've had over this first week, as well as some of the trips that I have taken or will have taken by the time I come back to you guys. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry this is a little long. I'm going to try and keep it a little shorter next time. But yeah, so far so good, and I'll see you next time.